Minutes for some folks to sign in.
Simon,
Hi,
you hear me,
Simon.
Simon?
I
Good.
got you. Okay. Um, so we will get started in about 5 minutes or so. Okay. Thank you.
How are we doing tonight?
Hi, Lincoln. How you doing?
Good to see you,
We're
Mr.
we're
Chair.
wait we're we're waiting for a few folks to sign in. So
Great.
we're going to start in about 5 minutes.
Perfect.
Okay. Okay. Hi, folks. So, little housekeeping before we get started. So tonight we are in conflict with both the Parks Alliance Gala, where a number of our committee members are being honored for their work on Cooper Park, and such. Plus, we're also in conflict with the holidays. So I do not expect a quorum tonight, but we can still take care of business and go through a couple things. Let's see. Right now we have Gina, Simon, myself, Ali, who is a new non-board member. Welcome, Ali. And I think, just double check. And Simon. The 347 number, 347-4 ... 51. Are you a committee member?
I'm not. This is Mariana from Lincoln's office.
Oh, okay. Hi, Mariana. How are you?
Hello. I'm good.
Cool. Good. I do expect Mario Domerick to jump in, and hopefully Karen Nieves. Ms. Cunningham, thank you for making the time. Nice to see you again.
You as well. Thank you for having me.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know if I just said this or not, but we're going to table the district needs discussion. I had a conversation with Gina Barros, the chair of the budget committee, and they have gone through at the meeting last night and approved a lot of the district needs for transportation. We'll be talking about that at the full board meeting next Tuesday. So we can get into it there, but it's really okay. A lot of the reason I'm tabling it is because we're probably not going to get a quorum, and a lot of the people that were involved in the informal subcommittee on district needs are all at the Parks Alliance gala. So silly to talk about it with the people that know the most about it not here, but and we may actually just make a separate district needs meeting in November, just because we need to have a quiet conversation where we're not all yelling about things we're angry about, and just have a kind of a constructive conversation about district needs that can be submitted next year, because we're on the deadline for this year, unfortunately. But it looks like the stuff that's in the former district needs statement is going forward with some amendments, and we'll see how that goes. So, okay. We are still at the same number of committee members as far as I can tell. Okay, but we do have Neil Sheehan and Greg Larkin here, who want to talk about alternate side parking in what is it, North 11, that zone. And we also have Ms. Cunningham here to talk about it. And we also have Councilman Ressler and Mariana, wherever you went, to kind of weigh in and get this, hopefully, get the street regs changed for 11 within the district. So I forwarded Neil's email, and I've also forwarded emails previously. This has been it's been hard to get this on the agenda because of a number of things, but I have sent around the cleanliness reports to the committee back in the summer when Neil first brought this to my attention. I guess it was July, Neil, right?
Right.
We talked about it. We talked about it in June.
Correct.
Okay. Okay. So the three committee members, Gina and Ali, I do not have your email on Quick Add yet, but I will start forwarding committee stuff to you shortly. So if you didn't get it today, there he is.
Hi.
Hi. So if you didn't get it today, it's my apologies, but you're not fully routed into my system yet, but we'll get you there. Okay. Actually, before we do that, we have a base renewal license. We don't have a quorum, but I don't think we have any problems with R&D Transportation Incorporated. They're at 135 Greenpoint Avenue. Gina, that's kind of your area, and you might know it, but I don't think we've had any. Joanna, I don't think we have any complaints on R&D Transportation that I'm aware of.
I haven't seen any.
Yeah, okay. So we can do an acclamation vote without a quorum to approve it. The base renewal. It's probably already gone through. It's kind of a pro forma thing at this point because we were supposed to talk about this last month, but the meeting got rescheduled. So, any opposition? No, hearing none. Okay, we'll call it unanimous acclamation since we can't say approval without a quorum, but we'll move forward. Okay, let's talk ASP. So, Neil, do you want to take it? Do you want to give it to Greg?
Do you mind if I just jump in for a second? I have to leave.
Yeah, sure.
Is that okay?
Yeah,
Do you
please.
mind? So I just want to thank firstly Neil and Greg for bringing this issue to our office's attention and for their thoughtful advocacy and many neighbors across Greenpoint and CB1. I think that ASP is something that causes profound frustration for drivers throughout our community, and I had long been aware of the policy of the mayor's that the Department of Sanitation will reduce ASP to one time per week if the Mayor's Office of Operations street cleanliness scorecards, meet the appropriate threshold. But I really want to thank my chief of staff, Mariana, for realizing in doing her due diligence that actually the regulations allow for that provision to be reviewed section by section. And in addition to section 11 clearly qualifying, which represents the large majority of Greenpoint, there's an argument that section 13 could qualify as well, considering we didn't get a rating from them at the last month of the fiscal year, and the ratings in the new fiscal year had put them well above the average that would be needed. And so I really hope that the Community Board 1 will issue a letter of recommendation and submit a request for Department of Sanitation to formally review this, and that the department will swiftly do just that. I remember about 4 or 5 years ago when I worked in the mayor's office, we were this close to approving the ASP reduction for CB1, and the street cleanliness ratings came up just short. And I really hope that this will be a step in the direction of us reducing ASP in the areas where the street cleanliness merits it, because ASP is really important. It serves a vital function in cleaning our streets, and it should and we should have it twice a week wherever it's necessary. And I think that the data shows that we have section 11 is really in good shape, and that our community will not suffer from this policy change. And so I'm hopeful with community board support, thanks to the advocacy of our neighbors and the work of our the staff in my shop, that the Department of Sanitation will do the right thing and work with us here to make the necessary adjustments. So I just want to thank you, Eric, for the chance to say a couple words and express my strong support here. I'm sorry, I'm just out and about at a couple different things, but I wanted to get on because this is really important to me, and I really want to see it happen. And so anything that our office can do to help, I know that Mariana and I and our whole team will do whatever we can. And I really just want to thank everybody for their advocacy on this one.
Okay, great. Thank you, Lincoln. And as I'm looking at it now, we've been focused on 11 because Neil has brought this to me, but I think we can go ahead and say now, of course, again, this is going to be acclamation, not a a comprehensive vote of the committee, which is unfortunate, but I think the sense of the board is if we could reduce ASP where possible to 1 day a week, we should do, especially if residents are doing their part to clean their sidewalks and gutters and things. And if the citizens are doing the work to keep it clean, then the city should reward them with not not making them have to like move their cars, twice a week. And I'm looking at 11, 12, 13, and 15. In fact, 15 is coming in at almost 94% clean. And so is 13. So, but I'm getting a little ahead of myself in support. So I'll give it to Neil and Greg, and then Ms. Cunningham, you can join in on any process or any insights that you have. And I understand from Marianne, I believe it was our thread where you noted that operations in the mayor's office is the one that makes the actual cleanliness determinations, but I'm sure sanitation has the go ahead to say DOT change the signs or whatever, right? So, but we'll get into the nuts and bolts of city operations after we hear from Neil and Greg. So, Neil, you have the floor.
Neil, you're muted.
You can hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, good. So Lincoln and his team, I think, did a phenomenal job helping the community. I think for sanitation, the conversation I would just like to bring up for Ms. Cunningham to be able to bring back is that we have multiple years of data here, and that we're living in inequality, even though we have a higher score than the majority of the other districts in the data. You have multiple years of data. The data that was last used to do this I believe, is about 6-7 years old. And you collect, my understanding is you guys are collecting data every month. And the information that Greg passed along, Eric, which I think you might have distributed to people, shows the scores. So one of the things that we hope sanitation understands is we don't need a lengthy study to find out what you're telling us every month. And I hope you can comment on that tonight. I did speak with the deputy mayor at the 94th Precinct Council last night and explained the situation. And he felt like we would get treated fairly through this process. But if not, that we should come back to the mayor's office and let them know. And I'm hoping we can just go through this process. We don't need to expedite a study. I would assume if you have several years of your own data that you use to measure, and we're above 90 during that whole period, that we should be deemed eligible for alternate side. We shouldn't have to have a 6-month or 8-month study. What happens in the Greenpoint districts, just so you know, when you bring it back, is that people literally clean, and when cars don't move, they literally move the garbage from the street out so the sweeper gets it and takes it away. So it's a cooperative process. I think that's one of the reasons you're seeing such high scores. People take care of their property, they care about their property, and they understand that if somebody gets a ticket, that's great, but if they don't move their car, that we have to work around that. And we're out there with our brooms before the sweepers come. So I would love, I don't know, Ms. Cunningham, if you can comment on this process, but I don't think there's any dispute that this is how you determine eligibility. I mean, I think we've all verified that. And if you have 24 months worth of data that shows us as eligible, I'm hopeful this is just going to be a process between sanitation and DOT about how do you go about logistically implementing it. Not that we're going to have a study. And Eric, I would just think that to protect us, you probably could move this to the full board in some shape or form, because I don't really think it's controversial. I don't think we're going to have any problems at the full board saying, guess what? The city has a standard, and this part of the neighborhood is getting cheated. They should get it. They should,
right?
Because I don't want to get caught in this catch-22. You have to ask. If you don't ask, we don't tell, kind of thing. This is we don't need that. Greg, I don't know if you want to add to any of that.
Thanks, Neil. I just would want to reiterate what we heard from Lincoln. Thank you, Mariana, for all of your due diligence, and please pass along to Lincoln that we're really grateful for the work he's done. The only other point I would add that is that we did a bit of analysis here, which is that there's about 5,300 parking spaces in Brooklyn North 11th, and between sidewalk kiosks for restaurants and construction of new high-rise buildings, 30% of those parking spaces are offline, not accessible to the residents who live here. So we are kind of keeping our side of the street very clean, literally speaking. Um, when in fact we don't have, we're like parking is reducing, the population of that neighborhood, I believe, is expanding, and we're continuing to sustain the cleanliness standard that the Department of Sanitation requires. Um, so I hope that we can push this forward and any logistical steps that need to happen that are kind of out of the purview of just me as a normal citizen. I'm not sure what those are, but I would love it if we could see this move forward with as quickly as possible. That's all. Thanks for letting me chime in.
Sure, Greg, and thanks for putting that together. That data, it's really helpful. All right, Ms. Cunningham, if you can weigh in on the process, and just that, DOT is really the last step. DOT just needs to get a letter from the commissioner saying, do this thing, change the signs, and then they do. They don't weigh in. There's no conversation between sanitation and DOT unless there's some outstanding issue. So that's kind of the bureaucracy of it. DOT has to see a letter from sanitation before they can move forward. So, having said that, Ms. Cunningham, you have the floor.
Yeah, so thank you guys again for having me. Just as a note of clarity, I feel like there was a little bit of um, miscommunication in terms of sanitation being the one to do the scorecard ratings. We don't. It's not our ratings. That is definitely something that's done by the mayor's office, completely independent of sanitation. They're the ones that determine it, and it actually has been something that the method in which they do it has changed. I think post COVID, or so we're actually getting adjusted to the new scoring and stuff like that. And of course, ASP wasn't really happening at all throughout the pandemic. So it's been an adjustment period for sure. So just to clarify that, but in terms of process, I mean, for the most part, you guys covered it, but historically, we, generally will not review a request for reduction until there's been at least 2 consecutive years of 90% or above. And so that's, typically been, of course, it's a case by case basis sometimes, but that's generally what's been the ongoing, rule of thumb before we review. But yes, once that happens and the board is in agreement, they submit a letter to us. Our operations team, reviews it, determines the feasibility, and then, if it's approved or not, that's then a conversation that happens with DOT. But as Eric, I think you kind of alluded to, sometimes there are some larger issues, and I do think that unfortunately right now there is a little bit of an outstanding concern in that even if it was something, excuse me, that were to move forward, the sign changes needed to operationalize a new regulation is a pretty large expense that, from my understanding, is currently not funded. So that could definitely be a concern, which of course we understand would be frustrating. But I believe that they're already doing an evaluation of ASP in the district, and they're specifically looking at the night regulations near the in the Broadway Triangle to determine the specific expense of what changing or updating the signs there would be. So I know that portion of it is something that we can, let you guys know as soon as possible.
Well, it's funny you should mention the Broadway Triangle because I have one board member and one committee member that want to talk about that in new business after we get through. So if you could hang
No,
out
this
for
is
that
Simon.
conversation, that'd be great.
You hear me? Simon,
Absolutely.
you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah, can I just interrupt a second, please?
sure.
Do we have somebody from the sanitation or from DOT on the who was just talking?
DOT isn't involved in this part, so we're talking to Ms. Teresa Cunningham from sanitation.
Okay, so I'm happy she brought up this issue, but we'll be promised that there will be a plan on the whole Border Triangle area and also Flushing area to reevaluate all this night cleaning because because everything has become residential, and we're waiting for. I was emailing with Gregory, the assistant commissioner, and he's promising me. He's sending me emails all the time stating that they're working on a plan to change everything from the night regs to regular regs. Are you aware of this study or this work? Is this in the pipeline?
Yeah, Ms. Cunningham, if you can just expand a little bit. I do want to take this up in new business, but if you could just quickly
I just sent an email to Gregory the other day. I said, "You're promising me for a long time that they're going to change make a plan of all area, not just one block by block,
Okay,
So
Simon. So okay, that's fine. So she brought it up, and so I'm sure she has a little insight on where it stands right now. And if you could just give us a quick overview, and then we'll get back to the north side.
I don't have a ton of information, but essentially what he said is true. Definitely our Assistant Commissioner Greg Anderson is looking into it. He's a part of, what is being reviewed right now. And like I said, at this point, it's under review, and we're going to get that information to you guys, just as he stated, as soon as that review is complete. So
Do we know when that review started?
I don't. Unfortunately, I don't know for sure.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough. So back to the north side.
Can I ask a few questions about the process? Thanks, Ms. Cunningham, for chiming in. I have a few really specific questions. Number one, in the same way that like during the pandemic when alternate side only was implemented or enforced rather but the signs never changed, but it was understood that it was only enforced the second 2 days of the week. Is it necessary can the rule be changed and known in that neighborhood, but this without the signs being changed, if that makes sense? In other words, if we have the 2 years of data that warrant the process to move forward through the Department of Transportation, the mayor's office, can the rule go into effect of that change while the funding is secured and implemented, et cetera, to change the signs and have it be communicated in some way, shape, or form? I would imagine it's such welcome news that word would travel pretty fast.
So unfortunately, I would not be able to say whether that's possible. I will say though that the decision, it was it was something that was citywide, and it came from the mayor. It didn't come from the Department of Sanitation. So I think in that type of situation, it would have to, follow a similar process. I don't know that there's ever been a situation like that where regardless of what the posted signs are, then there was a, different ongoing regulation in that area. I don't think that has happened before. That is not to say that it couldn't, but at this juncture, I would not be able to make that determination.
Yeah.
But it's certainly a question that I'm happy to bring back and ask if there's a possibility. But I will say also that this is still pending the approval, right? So even if that you guys have the 2 years, it's still something that needs to be formally approved, right? Before we can even move to you know, in that direction. So I think that there's still a little bit of process that would have to take place before that can even, you know, be considered.
And just so I'm clear, the procedure is that the approval comes from the mayor's office or from the DOT?
Neither from sanitation. So our team, our operations approves the feasibility of it. So the scorecard ratings themselves are what comes from the mayor's office of operations, and then
I see. Okay.
yeah, so they do that independently for fairness, and you know they determine what the scores are. But again, all of this is kind of new, and you know post COVID it has been changing and stuff like that. So that there is that as well.
But as far as we know, that the data being entered each month, you're saying now is entered by the mayor's office, not by sanitation?
Correct.
Correct.
Yeah.
But that's the data that's used to determine the frequency of alternate side. Still. Otherwise,
That's what's
there's no
there,
other
but
data, right?
well, it's not that there's no other data. I mean, our guys are in the field and there's cleanliness, you know, that we take care of on a daily basis. So of course that plays a factor into what we're seeing and experiencing
Absolutely.
as well.
Right. So, but I guess my point is that's the data. So as it's coming in each month, it's indicating it's above 90%. So whether it's put into the system by them or by you, it's the criteria up until now that's been used by everybody. And I would imagine if you're looking at making a change anywhere in the city, you're looking at that data. Would that be reasonable?
Oh,
Just-
sorry.
Yeah.
Can I just add that it's the data, the scorecard data is the statutory data to be used.
So it's statutory. Thank you.
Yeah, it says
Yeah.
in law that it has to score above 90% using this scorecard data. So
Got you.
that
Yeah.
I think in presenting our case to sanitation as to why they should accept this, we should be using that data.
Got you. Ms. Cunningham, I don't know if you're aware, but just so we put it on the record, it's my understanding by observation in many parts of during the pandemic, the sanitation sweepers continued to sweep. They just came down the middle of the block. And that was beneficial because they weren't taken offline.
We swept, right. We swept
Right,
where curb
right.
lines were accessible.
So
People didn't have to move their vehicles, but we continued to sweep as curb lines
Right.
were accessible. So
obviously, from the community's point of view, while we're waiting for a transition of a sign, if we were to do what, as Greg pointed out, just your vehicles would continue to come down the block, but what would happen is there wouldn't be any DOT enforcement. People wouldn't be getting tickets on the 2 days of the week that we're removing, just like during the pandemic.
again, the pandemic was a completely new and different operation that again stemmed directly from the mayor. That was, you know, what they decided. I can't say that they can replicate that in a specific community
That's
board, and
fair.
not even just community board, but a specific district. So also historically, we do ASP changes throughout the district, not just one specific section. So now again, there's like, you know,
That would cost a
the
lot more money.
section, the district, right. There's a lot of factors here. So yeah, I definitely can't say that it can or can. I don't know that it's possible, but it's definitely something I noted and we'll take back.
Yeah, I think it would be good to take back transparently that that's what we will be bringing to the mayor's office and people. Because if obviously we're approved and we're waiting for a sign to change, that could be a year. That could be whatever. And you've also indicated there might be a budget need there. Logically, your sweepers can continue to sweep, and we can go to, as Greg said, working with the DOT to not be handing out tickets. That's the way it was for the last 8, so there's precedent for how to handle this, I guess is what I'm saying. I don't think we want to wait for the last sign to go up and the paint to settle when if we've established that this area is being actually penalized when it shouldn't be. I think we could all get to a way to handle this. I think he alluded to it.
I think the problem, Neil, with is the bureaucracy. Is that what Ms. Cunningham was explaining before was that it was a citywide.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, from the mayor.
Yeah.
So
No, I agree. I just
Yeah.
wanted to get on the record that there are ways to handle this.
right.
And
So
that
it
would have to come out of the mayor's office, I guess.
right. The mayor's office would have to, acquiesce to the, I guess, to the sanitation commissioner, whether they wanted to make that spot determination for, as Greg suggested, reducing the, by statute, just reducing the enforcement to 1 day a week, and then waiting for the budget measure to get the line.
Waiting for the new
That's kind of a bureaucratically through the city. That's kind of a difficult ask. But
Well, I would
with
agree. I think it
Councilman
has to
Lincoln
come out of
Ressler
the-
on the
it has
case,
to come out of the mayor's office.
I think we
Mayor's
can
office.
maybe cut through some of that, and hopefully
I think we would agree to repaint the signs for them for free if they,
well,
as
we've tried
community
that by putting
participation.
up our own stop signs and stuff like that. So I don't know.
Some of our neighbors do that now with different text though.
Right. Mariana.
I think Kevin may have had his hand up. Sorry.
Oh yeah, sure.
Hey, thanks guys. Sorry. Yes, thank you, Mariana. My hand down. Hold on, great. Yeah, I think that one of my concerns with this, I guess I saw it on the agenda. And I think that, Neil is
We're not hearing you, Kevin.
hello?
You're breaking up, Kevin.
Let me see. Hold on one second. Sorry. Let me switch over to hold on. If not, I'll try to call back in. Is that any better?
That's
that's
better.
Okay, I'm like down. Maybe I'll go up on top of the bridge. Yeah, I think that what I saw this on the agenda. I do think that Neil is right that like a lot of green pointers, a lot of folks in the neighborhood do sweep in front of their houses. They sweep their sidewalks, they sweep their front walks, and so that's definitely a reason that you could reduce it. The days, but I guess one of my concerns is that back like during the last year, a couple of not abandoned, but just like their house under construction, and so the garbage piles up in the alternate side was suspended. The garbage ends up in the catch basins or in the curb, gets washed down. And there was, at Meserole and Newell, there was 15 houses whose basements flooded in Eastern Greenpoint. A lot of other houses as well. And the alternate side parking, if it's working correctly, which it doesn't, right? Let's acknowledge that. Like the street sweepers don't get the curbs, right? Because the cars don't move or whatever it is. But I think that my concern is with rolling it back, which I don't know. This is more of a question for DSNY. But like the readiness for these heavy rains and storm events, right? That the areas that they could be sweeping or would be sweeping if cars are moving are not, and I don't know what the system, like if most of the communities are ranking pretty not
We're losing
a lot of areas.
I'm so sorry. I know some of it was directed towards DSNY, towards me, but I'm having a really hard time hearing you.
All right. I'm sorry. I don't know, but I don't know that necessarily my service is going to get any better over here. I guess just my concern about the changing the alternate side or changing it back or shifting it is is clean curbs and like storm readiness and resiliency, because there's trash in the street, and that ends up in the catch basins. And then if those catch basins are backed up, that water is in people's basements, in people's homes and businesses, and that problem's only going to be getting worse. So I don't know if DSNY has a particular position on that, or any particular ideas about it, but that's something that I'm definitely concerned about.
Thanks, Kevin. So, Ms. Cunningham, so since DEP is the one that is responsible for the maintenance of the catch basins, do you have any coordination at least based on my understanding. Do you have any coordination with DEP about cleanliness of the catch basins? Is there any crossover in terms of like cleaning them? And to Kevin's point, have you, maybe you would know, have you seen issues with catch basin obstruction in single alternate side streets?
So there definitely is relationship between us and DEP. We both kind of manage the catch basins in the sense that if there's any type of clogging of the catch basin itself or things that are stuck inside of the catch basin, that is something that DEP is has jurisdiction over, whereas we do, help to maintain the top, the grading. If there's things on that, with our street sweepers. We also, of course, encourage property owners, if they're at the corners, to try to make sure that that area stays clear. So we work in conjunction to try to make sure that the tops of the catch basin, so that things don't go inside of it. But absolutely, to Kevin's point, that is something that is considered, in the feasibility, and reducing, ASP is a concern when the catch basins are not being cleaned or maintained as frequently from not having street sweeping. I don't have data offhand that says, whether catch basins in a one-time district versus in, a two-time or more district, whether there's a difference. But again, that's something that I can, potentially note. But I do know that that is absolutely something that would be considered into the general decision-making process.
So just to add other elements, if we're going to be looking at other elements, the more alternate side we have, the more people we have sitting, running their motors in their cars for an hour and a half at a time, polluting our community. So I wasn't going to get into the parallel issues, but just, since we've been looking at this issue, and that's the way it was since July. It's only going to get worse in the cool seasons, because people sit, they wait for the sweeper, then they move around the block, and then they come back and sit and wait for the traffic guy, then they move around the block, and then hopefully they get out of their car at 10 o'clock. So we spend an hour and a half burning fossil fuel so that we can get an extra cleaning. So I should add that, but that's not a sanitation issue. It's more the general community value structure that we're looking at. So
thanks, Neil. Neil, I want to get back to Mariana. She was going to make a point
sure.
on the Go ahead, Mariana.
Thanks. I'm on borough board right now too, so I'm in two places.
You're a busy woman.
But I just wanted to, I know that Neil and Greg are here who live in Subdistrict 11, but I also wanted to say that there are at least 4 people who reached out to our office who live in Subdistrict 13 that also feel the same way, that they want reduced service. I think there's a very clear case to be made for Subdistrict 11 that they qualify. The scores in fiscal 20 were 93.4. 91.1 in fiscal 21, and then 94.1 in fiscal year 2022. So they were scoring above 90% during the period where there was reduced service. So I think we can feel confident that that would continue. It's a little bit more complicated in the 13th subdistrict. So they got 93.8 in fiscal year 20, 91.6 in fiscal year 21, and then they dropped to 87.2 in fiscal year 22. So just by looking at that, I think that means they don't qualify, because you're required to have 2 fiscal years in a row of 90% or greater. But I would advocate that you all recommend to the sanitation commissioner to reduce service anyway, because that subdistrict was not rated in 2 months in fiscal year 22. And if you look at the month by month numbers, they really deviate a lot. So 1 month can make all the difference. And it wasn't rated in June or January of fiscal year 2022. It then wasn't rated in July of fiscal year 2023. So the first month. It was then rated in August, this last August of fiscal year 2023, and it got a 94.1% rating, which, if you add that to the prior fiscal year, does knock it above 90%. So I don't know if anyone from that subdistrict is on the call tonight. I did ask them to come and sent them the information, but as the board is considering making this ask of the sanitation department, I would just on their behalf advocate that you ask for subdistrict 13 as well as 11. And then just briefly, the other subdistricts, so 12, 14, and 15, very clearly do not qualify. So I don't know if it's even while asking.
Well, it looks like 15 would qualify because 15 is 93.9. Last year it was 92.4. And the year before it's 92.8.
I have different numbers than you then. So
I'm going from Greg, but which looks like he just cut and pasted from the city data. Is that right, Greg?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, I thought so. So
okay.
Yeah, so we could ask for 11. We could ask for 13 with the caveat that some months weren't assessed, right? And 15 for 3 consecutive years above 90%. Sorry, did you get that, Mariana?
No, I didn't. Sorry, I just voted for. I don't know what I
Oh,
voted,
okay,
but I did.
No, so it's fine. So I was just saying that the ask of the board would be for 11 because of 3 consecutive years of 90 plus, for 15 with 3 consecutive years of 90 plus, and 13 with 2 years of 90 plus, with the caveat that some months were missed last year. Am I saying that correctly?
Yes, and I'm happy to type this all out for you all and send over it too.
Ooh, I love it. save me and poor Joanna from having to like draft a letter. I mean, we would just take your language and have Chair Fuller approve it. But
Okay.
hello?
Oh, yeah.
Who was that? Okay, never mind.
If
Could,
this is
could
okay,
somebody
so
get us the price of a sign? I'm curious about. I don't know if we can get that from sanitation or DOT, since eventually this could become an issue.
I mean, I think we could
I'm
get
willing
that.
to do a fundraiser.
I think I could probably get that data from Rhonda Messer as to what if there is a. They might not be able to share that.
Okay, yeah, it could be a
But
bidding war.
if they can share it, they will. And just to get a cost on.
They could give.
I mean, I would imagine, Marianne, it's a budget item, right? So the council has looked at signage as a budget item, and if it's unfunded because it didn't make it into this year's budget, it must be public knowledge at this point. I can understand how it would be, under review, but by now it should be publishable, I would think. Thoughts, Marianne?
I mean, I would say I think take it one step at a time. Like, let's push for approval. But I agree.
Sure.
We can start exploring now the budgetary component, because I hadn't thought of
Right.
that. So Teresa, thank you for raising.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So we'll count the signs, Marianne. We'll count the signs. So we know how many are there. And then the other question is, can we have less than what's there? So at least we know how big a number we could be talking about if that's where we have to go, right?
Yeah.
I don't mean an exact number. I'm just ballparking it.
Right. Okay. So I think we've pretty much exhausted this topic. So I will ask for a vote of acclamation and not approval, since we don't have a quorum. Gina, can you hear me?
Yes, I'm sorry. It takes time to unmute.
I understand. It's okay.
Yeah.
So we don't have
Can
a
I-
quorum, but I'm looking
Simon,
for.
can I just say something for the DSF
Hang on,
for
Simon.
yeah.
Hang on. So Gina, you would support this, or yes or no?
What am I supporting?
The reduction in alternate side parking for sub-districts 11, 13, and 15 based on 3 consecutive years of 90 plus cleanliness.
So what you're saying is that not to have also.
It would no, it would
No,
reduce.
we
So
love-
right
we
now
love
it's 2
it.
days a week. It would go down to 1.
Yeah, I agree to
Yes.
that.
Okay. Simon.
Well, I want to make a point. I do support this reducing this cleaning, but I just know as a fact that if we could put in the language that if most of the sanitation district it applies this reducing, I think then sanitation should eliminate from the whole the community board 1, because that's how it used to work. That's how. I mean, are we working on this idea for years to reduce to once a week? So I'm just throwing that out there. I wonder if you could put the wording in. We approve or we support changing these 3 areas, but at the same time, because maybe they should change the whole community board 1, because most of the community board merits the cleaning standard, or up, that's I'm just throwing that in as a. I wonder if you could figure out a way of putting that wording in.
I don't think, Simon, I don't think we could support that. I think we have to go by, since the city, okay, so working within the bureaucracy, I think we have to go by operations is saying that they want to make determinations on cleaning in these sub-districts, right? And we want to reward communities in the sub-district that are, doing extra to keep the streets clean. And then we have to work harder in other districts to get them up to 90% cleanliness so that we can reduce this. So I don't want to support something that's district wide in reduction of 2-day alternate side, because I know on my block, if we reduce it to 1 day a week, it's just going to get worse. And I'm on, I'm over by Cooper Park, and I'm getting tickets like every other week, just because, not because of our building, we're out there cleaning it, but because of the nature of the street. So, but we need it.
Okay.
We need it 2 days a week. You know what I'm saying? So,
No, I got it.
yeah,
Just one more point.
One more point. Down on the south side too.
This is Isaac.
Yeah.
Simon, this is Isaac. I am jumping in just on the issue that we discussed. A new business. Are you ready?
Okay, hang on.
We're going to vote. The middle of the vote now.
Okay, wait, Isaac, I'm coming right back to you in a second. So, Simon, you would support
it.
reducing
Yeah,
alternate?
supporting.
Okay,
Yes.
and Ali.
Yes, I support.
Okay, it's your first big sort of vote.
Yes, it is.
We don't have a quorum, but it's a sort of vote. We'll take it. And then myself, I support it. And I don't think we have any other committee members on.
Do we still have the sanitation on the line? Is she still on the line?
Yeah, she's still here, but hang on, Simon, for a second, okay? All right, so I will make a recommendation in my report to the full board to draft a letter to sanitation and Mayor's Office of Operations to reduce alternate side parking in sub-districts North 11, North 13, and North 15 based on 3 consecutive years of 90% cleanliness, with the caveat that 13 did not have, was skipped in some, and technically would average out to above 90% if you look at the 3 years that Mariana, maybe we can talk about the vote will be next Tuesday.
Yeah.
And I have an insane week, so maybe next Friday we can touch base and draft the language for that letter and get it out. Assuming that the board approves it, which I would imagine that they would. They all hate 2-day week alternate side. So, okay, so
Great. So on behalf of North 11, thank you to the committee.
Yeah. Well, Sam, I wanted to make a point
Thank you to
the
Lincoln's,
hang on, Simon.
sanitation.
Lincoln's team that's really helped us get up to snuff. And Ms. Cunningham, we look forward to working with you and bringing you to see our clean street once a week.
All right. Thank you
Great.
so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Greg.
So much.
Thanks for your
Neil.
support.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Meredith.
it.
Teresa, please stay around, because now we're going to talk Broadway Triangle, I think, since we're tabling the district needs budget conversation. Okay, so let's see, who do we still have? Good. Okay. Okay. So Simon, I'm gonna defer to Isaac because he's the one that has been bringing this to my
Yeah, I just
attention.
want, but I know, but I was listening before, but I just want to bring it up to where we're up to now. So this is a letter that the sanitation sent to the community board, that when we voted on two streets, that was Flushing between Kent and Franklin, and Kent Avenue between Flushing and Wallabout. When we approved that, we got a letter from the sanitation saying that they're going to make a study of the whole area, okay, including the triangle, and to remove all the night regs. And this letter is, I think we got it maybe a year ago. And since then, I've been emailing. I'm jumping in what Isaac's we're going to talk about, but I'm just going to make it clear. Since then, I've been emailing Dan and Beck with the Assistant Commissioner Gregory, and he's telling me all the time, soon. So it looks like it should be somewhere in the works. It would be very helpful if we get an update of. It looked like from the emails that it should be happening any day, and it's like we're in the dark now. We would like to know what's the plan, of all these blocks that just came up the last few years, residential, when they're going to change it. Now I'll give over the word for Isaac.
Okay, thank you, Simon. Isaac, go ahead.
Okay, let me make it quick. I didn't plan to do this, but on your behalf, Eric, I emailed you 6 points in the Broadway Triangle. A few of them have been changed a few years back, but was changed back because of the public school opposition at that time. And I emailed to you from the people in the neighborhood. I forward to you, and I made a point of 6 specific blocks where it's completely residential now, and the school teachers by now, every public school teacher have now credentials to park during the day, wherever it is, since I think 2015. So it's not relevant anymore. So we asking for those 6 specific blocks to be changed from night to day, from night cleaning to day cleaning.
Right. Okay. Okay. So here's my thinking based on the information that we have from Ms. Cunningham. So, Simon, just when was the first time that Deputy Commissioner, is it Anderson, mentioned to you that it was under review? How many months ago?
So let me just explain you. This is going. First of all, this is going.
Wait. Hang on.
This
I
was
know
like I
it's
think
going
in
back.
October, November.
Of
We got
last
the
year.
letter from of last year. We got the letter stating that they're going to make review the whole area, and instead of doing piece by piece, they'll do everything
Right.
together.
Right. Okay. Right. Okay.
And I just got a note from him, email. It must have been August, I think, or July, stating that any minute should come some news about which all the blocks that you were going to change. So
Simon,
I was
Simon, just hang on. Simon, so was that
Yeah.
an email that
Yeah.
you shared can you forward that to me? And are you comfortable with me? I mean, it's a conversation.
Yeah. I
between
can do it forward to you. I just don't. I'm not this second. No, but I'll do it when I get to my
No,
office.
no,
Yeah.
not the second. I just want to include it in the report because that's important. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Not right now. When you get to it.
Right.
So okay.
It's from Gregory. I got it. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So if he's telling you in August that it's imminent and it's been happening, the assessment has been happening for a year now, right? I think so we could ask the board to write a letter to change the night regs on these 6 items that Isaac has brought up, and these items too are also in the original email that Simon had forwarded to me from Abe Rutner. I believe, right? They're the same 6 ones, Isaac? They look the same to me.
Yes, yes,
Yeah, okay,
correct.
all right. So, maybe we should do this. Maybe we should ask the board to, or yeah, I guess at this point we would have to ask the board to send a letter to Deputy Commissioner Anderson to inform the board when the review will be completed, so that we could have a determination on so we would know what streets are going to be revised. I mean, I guess we could send another letter to the commissioners, to the city commissioner and to the deputy commissioner, just as a pro forma thing, saying these are the streets that we want the night regs changed because they're now largely residential. But it might be better if we're going to hear from them soon, and maybe this is just something that we can do over the next month to try to kind of nail him down. Either just might not even require a vote, to get a response from Deputy Commissioner Anderson as to
Eric?
yes.
Hi, can I just jump in? I was on another call just to clarify some things. So I'm
Sure.
with the understanding that the review is actually complete already.
Oh,
It's
okay.
already complete.
Oh, okay,
Um,
okay. Did
However,
you state that earlier and I missed it? I'm sorry.
I didn't.
Okay.
I was not. I went to clarify because I didn't want to,
Perfect.
misspeak. But it
Okay,
is
great.
complete. And at this point, as I did mention earlier, about the funding, that is where, they're trying to assess, what it would take to make the necessary changes and stuff like that. So that is under review at the moment. But the actual, the review itself that was requested, that is complete.
Okay. So, and I
Is
just
there
want to
six-
be, and I
is
just
there
want to hang on,
16
Isaac. Hang on,
included?
Isaac. Hang on, Isaac. I just want to be clear. So, when you say when we're talking about the determination on the funding of changing all the signage, when you mentioned this earlier, does this
Mhm.
also apply to North 11, 13, and 15, or is it specific to the Broadway Triangle?
I believe that it is specific to the Broadway
Got
Triangle,
it.
but
Okay.
hold
Okay.
on. Let
But
me clarify that.
but they would make the
The
same
whole
argument for
district.
the north side as well, right? Miss Cunningham?
Yeah, sorry. Give me 1 second. Give me one
Sure.
second.
Okay, sure. In the meantime, Isaac, do you want to just, did we lose Isaac? We lost Isaac.
I'm here.
There he is. Where'd you go?
Oh yeah, yeah. No,
Oh,
he had to
okay.
go into a meeting. But anyway, I was. Yeah, but the issue. I hope the issue of funding came up last time as well.
Right. I mean,
Last time,
funding
I talked
always
about
comes
4
up,
years
right?
ago. 4 years ago, they said, "Oh, there's no funding for another sweeper." But I mean, there's millions of dollars in the budget. It doesn't make sense that this should budget issues.
Not well. There's a lot in the budget that doesn't make sense, but
I mean, no, I mean talking about a budget of millions and millions of dollars. That
right.
This should be an issue of what is it, the broom or the signage? I mean, I don't,
Well, it's not
don't
the
get it.
broom. It's not the broom in this case. It's the labor
The
to
last time they said it was the
replace.
broom. They said last time the broom, they need another broom, and that was
Right.
like I'm talking about 17
Sure.
in
Okay.
2017 or 18 when it was.
But switching out all those signs, it probably
we'll make
doesn't
an
seem
appeal.
like a
We'll
lot,
make
but
an
you're looking at probably $200,000, something like that minimum between labor and materials, maybe even more. So
So
anyway,
now I see that the Lincoln has now a participated budgeting. I will put in a request for money for.
sure.
We'll
Well,
put in a request for the signage of Broadway Triangle.
that might be capital. Oh no, that would be capital, right?
I don't know.
I see Miss Cunningham diligently working on something, ready to give us an answer. She may be on a call, but okay. Did we get Isaac back? No, we lost him. All right. Well, I think so. We have the information now that the study is complete. They are working on figuring out a budget for it and if it's feasible. I think that, you know, we could ask the board to draft a letter to, just to keep it front and center in their minds, to ask that the six streets, I'm sorry, six streets that, are of concern should be switched to day regs, and let them figure out the budget end of it. And
I
we
mean,
can work,
the
and
truth
we'll
is
work with
just
Lincoln's office. We can work with Lincoln's office to, to maybe move it forward. Maybe he can use part of his discretionary fund to help, fund uh, fund a signage change. And it's also too, it might be like a borough budget thing, right? So if they have X dollars to do the whole borough, it might not be council district specific. I don't know. We have to work this out with Mariana, but we should just write another letter saying these six streets should be day regs, and just do it, right,
yeah,
Simon?
but can I set up something?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, this sixth street was at that moment when we started this years ago. This was a sixth street that were really bothering, but they know sanitation by now knows that many more blocks have opened up in the Broadway Triangle. Just now, you remember this big project Rapsky was building, and now it's finished. People moving in already. I think those blocks maybe weren't included in this request. So they know which blocks become residential. The whole area is residential. We just picked these 6 blocks that just for the clarification. That's why I requested it years ago, but by now they know that there are many other blocks, like in Flushing. Some blocks still have night regs that don't. That's not. I give an example on Flushing Avenue, right? They know between Kent and Franklin, only one side was changed for night regs. The other side of the street that used to be the Rose Castle Hall, although it's in the Community Board 3, but they know that it's a whole residential. There's no reason for night regs, and it should be changed. So they look at the whole area one go, and it should have been. So it's not just this 6 blocks. To make clarification, when we talk about just these 6 blocks, what I sent you years ago. Well, since then many other blocks have opened up, and they know that. So maybe they're looking at the whole picture, not just one block by block. You know what I mean?
Well, yes, I totally hear you on that.
So we have to have this focus on this. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, no. So we're saying these 6 blocks, but this report may capture the other streets that you're talking about, Simon. So Flushing,
right.
etc. So let's see the report. Well, you know what? Why don't we hold off? Why don't we see the report? Ms. Cunningham,
right.
Is that the assessment, is that shareable?
I don't know that it is. I think it's whatever was requested. So from my understanding, that's why, excuse me, I apologize for being on the phone. I was trying to get clarity so I can get whatever information I can to you guys. But from my understanding, what the board requested be reviewed, the entire district was reviewed. Right. And so I don't know the, final determinations, but what I was informed is that, changes everywhere would be a large expense. So at this juncture, at this point right now, they are looking at the expense that it would cost to change specifically the night regs around the Broadway Triangle. That's not to say that, if you send the letter regarding the other, that will not be reviewed and all that. But right now, because of the funding issue, they're specifically looking at the expense of the Broadway Triangle. That's what's
right. Well, the 6 streets that we're talking about would have been included, because these are streets that, as Simon mentioned, we've come to sanitation before to say these should be day regs. So I'm pretty sure these are captured.
Just for note keeping, it's the Flushing between Kent and Franklin. Is that one of them that you were referring to? What are the 6 blocks you're referring to?
Hold on.
Just so I have it.
Eric.
I got it. So it's Harrison.
Eric, I have to go off Eric.
Okay, Simon. Thank you.
I have to run into a meeting. I appreciate I'll follow up with you if you don't mind later. But
Of
you know
course.
what it's all about. All right, thank you. I'm sorry. I'm gonna go down.
Thank you, Simon. No, that's fine. It's a tough night for everybody. So Ms. Cunningham, I'll forward this email to you.
Okay, no problem.
But it's Harrison between Walton and Flushing, Bartlett between Harrison and Throop, Walton between Harrison and Throop. Oh, yeah, Walton between Throop between Walton and Lorimer, Union between Flushing and Wallabout, and Marcy between Flushing and Wallabout. But I'll send this to you because I'm just throwing that at you. But this
Okay,
is
no
that
problem.
is technically like the Broadway Triangle. But I'm sure.
Gotcha. I'm sure they do. I just wanted to have it to
Yeah.
make sure everyone's on the same page. Yeah.
Right on. Okay. Okay. So we'll see what happens in my report next Tuesday, and maybe we'll send you another letter, and maybe we won't. Maybe we'll just see. But in the meantime, if you can, so when I send you this thread, I'll copy the board office on it. But if you can get back to us, if there is, tables and stuff that are shareable from the department that can be sent to the board for the committee's review, that would be great. I know that's not always put in a digestible form, but there is a team that has to look through some kind of packet, and if that packet can be shared with the board, that would be helpful. Okay, so that was new business. And I see Ryan turn on her camera, so I'm sure she's ready to say something. Ms. Cunningham, I think thank you for your time. Unless anybody on the call, any of the 10 have something that they want to ask sanitation while we have Ms. Cunningham here. If hearing none, thank you, Ms. Cunningham. We'll be in touch.
No worries. Okay, sounds good. I look forward to your email.
Okay,
Thank
great.
you.
Thanks so much.
All right, take care.
Okay, bye. Okay, so we do not even have. It's just it's just me, Gina, and Ellie on the committee right now. So I don't even have. We can't even close the meeting really technically. But if anybody that has stuck it out for the last hour wants to make a comment, Ms. Ryan Coonan has her hand up, and so I will recognize her. And I guess this is, I don't even know what this is. Is this old business or new? I guess we're still in new business, so we can. Does any wait? Let me be professional.
Okay.
Does anyone else have new business? Ryan has new business. Okay. All right. Go ahead, Ryan.
We had a death of a pedestrian in the CB district, so I just wanted to say, can we send the letter asking DOT to look at the intersection of Flushing and Bedford? If you've watched the video of the crash, it's horrible, and there's no reason for Benjamin Berger to be dead. And so again, I would like us to email or request from DOT to do their analysis. I assume they are, because there's going to be a death, but we had said we would hold them accountable to the community board.
Yeah, we have a standing policy now that we send a letter to what is it? Highway Patrol. I have to go look it up again, but it's a standing thing, so it's kind of procedural. What was the date on that fatality?
It was Wednesday morning, Tuesday night, or Tuesday morning. It was
this week?
The middle of the high holidays, so it had to have been Wednesday morning.
Oh God. Okay.
Yeah, no, it's really kind of horrific, to be honest.
Okay. All right, so early Tuesday morning, we think, or Wednesday
here I can look real quick. I have the dates. Hang on, sorry.
I think you texted it to me, but
yeah, I would. Yeah, let's see. It was the morning of October 4th, so Tuesday morning, I guess.
October 4th. Yeah, Tuesday. Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah, that's a shame. Okay, thank you, Ryan.
I had an old business too, but I'll
Oh, you
let
do?
it be
I don't.
famous
I
or
don't
not
think we have any
famous.
new.
procedural.
I don't think we have any other new business.
All right.
Okay, so old business, Ryan. While you were recognized, go ahead.
Can we get an update from DOT about Meeker Avenue? Because this is the summer that stuff was supposed to be finished and like nothing's happened. And it's just unfair to bikers, car people, everyone. Unless you know if like, I mean, I'm gonna assume it's a budgetary reason, but like since they haven't told us, I'm just guessing. I was wondering if you
I
could ask an update.
Yes, I can ask for an update. I believe they did complete the work that was scheduled. Well, they still have another month, but I believe that they finished the work that was scheduled for this season. As far as I understand, and that they got a lot of that work done early in the. So the Kirby, so they're working mostly from McGinnis Humboldt east, and I think a lot of that work is complete based on their schedule. But I can get I can get something from Rhonda and Craig on where they're at.
Right.
I'm not going to have time. I don't think I'm going to have time in November or December to have them in for the committee, but maybe I'll put them on the agenda. You know, let's do this. I'll put, unless I hear a lot of pushback, I'll put them on the agenda for January, and by then the season could be completely done, and they will have by then they'll know exactly where they stand and what they need to do in April, right? So, or March,
That
or whatever they start.
that sounds perfect, actually.
Okay, all right. So, update on Meeker schedule. I'm putting this in my report for January. TC. Okay, cool. Thanks, Ryan. Okay, any other old business? Okay, then thank you everybody for joining. Thank you, Joanna, for holding down the fort over there, doing the yeoman's job.
You're welcome.
Okay, cool. And I don't have a date for the November meeting. I'm going to try to do it the first week of November before the full board, but because at the end it's like Thanksgiving, blah 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 blah. But we will be. I believe we're coming back to Berry Street for the revised plan that we saw back in the summer. And there's some other things that hope. Well, it can't be a long meeting, but you know, we'll keep it calm. So anyway, look forward to that, and those of you that will be there on the full board meeting on the 11th, thank you. And with that, good night. Unless one last call. Does anybody have anything? Once, twice. Okay. All right. Good night, everybody. Thanks so much.